the one thing that has never been loyal to anyone. From the poorest beggar to the richest billionaire, everyone chases it. It's not just a piece of paper. It's an addiction. It turned hunters into farmers, farmers into merchants, and merchants into kings. It forced humanity to move from caves and forests to cities full of skyscrapers. But where did the power of money come from? How was it created? And how did this lifeless thing become the master of our lives? Let's travel back in time, thousands of years, to uncover the hidden story of money. 17,000 years ago, there was no money. Humans lived in small tribes. They hunted animals, gathered fruits, and their only goal was simple: survive. But hunting was unpredictable. Some days there was plenty, other days nothing. Hunger forced tribes to interact with each other. They began to exchange what they had: fresh meat for better weapons, animal skins for fruits. This was the birth of barter. The first worked. Both sides benefited. If you tried to take something by force, you might succeed once, but never again. So peaceful trade was better than constant fighting. Historians believe the barter system first took shape in Mesopotamia, in the region we now call Iraq. Tribes there began to trade not just for survival, but to improve their lives. But as time passed and populations grew, barter became messy. With so many people trading, it was hard to remember who owed what. So humans invented record keeping. They wrote simple marks on pieces of clay to track what was exchanged. This was the origin of accounting. Yet, even accounting couldn't fix barter's biggest problem: double coincidence of wants. You might want my cow, but I don't want your rice. If both sides didn't want what the other offered, the trade failed. Barter had limits. Humanity needed something better. The solution came in the form of commodity money. People realized they could use things that everyone agreed had value. In Africa, salt was precious. It preserved food. In India, cows were a sign of wealth. On the Pacific island of Yap, people used giant donut-shaped stones called rice stones, some weighing 5 tons. They couldn't even move them, they just remembered who owned which stone. In China, cowrie shells became a common medium of exchange. Anything rare, useful, or beautiful could act as money: animal skins, tobacco, alcohol, even slaves. This made trade easier, but it still wasn't perfect. The value of each commodity was different. Salt might be worth 1 goat in one village but 2 goats in another. And many commodities spoiled or wore out over time. Humanity needed something durable, something with a clear, universal value. Around 2,600 years ago, a breakthrough arrived. In the ancient kingdom of Lydia, in what is now Turkey, people began minting metal coins. The first coin, called the Lydian stater, was made of gold and silver and stamped with symbols of lions and bulls. Coins were durable, easy to carry, and, most importantly, they had a fixed value guaranteed by the ruler. Soon, coins spread everywhere. The Greeks used them for markets. The Romans paid their soldiers and expanded their empire with coins. The Chinese made coins of brass and copper. Coins solved many problems of trade, but they created new ones. They were heavy in large amounts. Imagine carrying thousands of coins to buy a house or load them on ships for overseas trade. Counting them was time-consuming. Transporting them was risky. So once again, humanity searched for something even better. The next revolution came from China during the Tang Dynasty. Merchants began issuing paper notes as receipts for coins deposited with them. Instead of carrying heavy coins, people could carry lightweight paper. Soon, the Chinese government realized this was powerful. They started issuing official paper money backed by gold and silver. In the 13th century, when the Mongol Emperor Kublai Khan ruled China, paper money became widespread. But people didn't trust it at first. Imagine giving away gold or diamonds in exchange for a simple piece of paper. It felt worthless. Kublai Khan solved this in a brutal way. Anyone who refused his paper money could be executed. So people accepted it. "This IQ," paper said, "I owe you gold or silver. You can come and claim it anytime." But eventually, people stopped exchanging it for gold and simply traded the paper itself. Europe learned this idea much later. But when it arrived, it changed the world forever. As paper money spread, International trade exploded. People trusted paper more than coins, fearing gold might be stolen. So they gave their gold to bankers in exchange for paper notes. But here's the trick: bankers realized they could print more notes than the gold they actually had. They lent these extra notes to others and made huge profits. Soon, there was more paper money circulating than actual gold. This caused inflation. Prices rose because money became too abundant. When people discovered that the banks didn't have enough gold to back all the paper, they rushed to withdraw their gold. But the banks didn't have it. Trust collapsed. For years, people stopped trusting banks. They hid their gold at home. Trade slowed. Economies suffered. To fix this, in 1816, Britain created the gold standard, a law that said they would only print as much money as the gold they had. Other countries followed, including the United States in the 1900s. This limited inflation, but it didn't end humanity's growing hunger for more money. Then came the Great Depression of the 1930s. Prices were too low, companies couldn't pay workers, and the economy collapsed. In 1933, President Franklin D. Roosevelt broke the link between the dollar and gold. Money was no longer backed by gold. It became fiat money, money backed by nothing but trust. Now banks and governments could print as much money as they wanted, but the more money in circulation, the more its value fell. Inflation became a permanent part of life. Today, all currencies, dollars, euros, rupees, yuan, are fiat money. They're just pieces of paper, valuable only because we agree they are. The truth is, what sits in your wallet, your bank account, your locker, it isn't real value. Trust. As the world became faster, paper money felt slow. In the 1980s, electronic money was introduced. Digital payments allowed millions of transactions in seconds. No more printing. No fear of being stolen. Just numbers on a screen moving from one account to another. Today, you can send money across the world in less than a second. But digital money also has risks. It can be hacked, stolen with a few lines of malicious code. So humanity took another step forward. In 2009, something revolutionary appeared: Bitcoin. It wasn't controlled by any bank or government. It wasn't tied to any paper currency. It was pure math. Bitcoin runs on blockchain technology, which makes it almost impossible to hack. Even with the fastest computers, it could take billions of years to break its code. When Bitcoin launched, its value was zero. In 2011, it was just $1. By 2021, a single Bitcoin was worth over $60,000. But Bitcoin is controversial. Because it's beyond government control, it can also be used for illegal trade. Some call it the future of money. Others call it a dangerous bubble. But whatever it is, it proves one thing: money is no longer just physical. It has become invisible. Look around. In just a few thousand years, we went from trading stones and salt to invisible numbers on a screen. But here's the truth: money itself has no real value. A paper note is worth nothing by itself. Digital numbers in your account? Just trust. Real money is something that keeps its value over time. Gold, silver, land, knowledge, and skills. These can't be printed endlessly like paper. The rich understand this. They don't just work for money. They make money work for them. The world runs on trust, not money. And the sooner you understand how money really works, the sooner you can control it, instead of letting it control you. Money has shaped our history, and it will shape our future. From barter, to paper, to digital codes, it has always been a story of belief. And that belief, for better or worse, is what makes the world go round. So, from stones to coins, from paper to invisible digital codes, money has always been more than just a way to trade. It's a story we all believe, a story that shapes our lives, our choices, and even our future. But the question is, will you let money control you, or will you learn to control it? If this journey through the hidden history of money opened your eyes, don't stop here. Subscribe now to discover more untold stories that shape the world you live in. Like this video, share it with someone who needs to understand the real power of money, and join the community that thinks beyond the obvious. Because knowledge is the most valuable currency of all.